Hey you guys, always great to see you here on the channel. If you're new, I'm Ryan and this is Grassroots Gardening, where we discuss everything gardening, plants, and landscaping. And we're constantly putting out new videos. So if you are new here, hit that like and subscribe down there for us and the little notifications bell, because like I said, we've got videos coming out all the time now, just on all kinds of cool gardening content. And today I'm going to show you guys, we're going to harvest our cabbage that we grew right here in our raised bed. If you remember a few months back, we built this raised bed, filled it with all organic, so there's no fertilizer in this garden, no man-made fertilizer, all organic. And look at how beautiful it has done. And I'm going to try not to say crabbage today like I did in the last video, to give you guys the opportunity to make fun of me, although that was pretty funny. Super proud of our cabbage. I've never been successful at growing cabbage. Now we've got this nice big head right here, and we did have some slugs and a snail chewing on this here recently. I didn't put any chemical on it because I knew we were getting close to harvest time. So we're going to harvest this bad boy today. We're going to go in, we're going to do a crock pot recipe with this cabbage and get it ready for supper tonight. Now you look at this cabbage next to it, he didn't do all that good. He was kind of tucked in, he got a shady start, so that's why that stem there elongated, and he's trying to form a little head of cabbage, but it's getting hot and I don't know if he's going to have time to make it. But this one is a nice big fat head of cabbage. And then we might be able to salvage a little bit off this little guy. He was kind of shaded out as well. And then another one tucked back under that Roma tomato we probably can get a little bit off of too. But while we're talking about the Romas, look at how healthy these Romas have gotten, you guys. And I need to come in here and do some more staking because they are growing like wildfire, and I just haven't had time to get in here and do it. This is the one we pruned up the other day, and look at the size of these tomatoes, y'all. They're gonna be turning red here real soon. We're just leaving 3 to 4 tomatoes per cluster. This is the one that we didn't prune, and just look at the size of the tomatoes. See, I didn't cull these tomatoes down to 3 to 4 per cluster, and look at the size difference there versus on the one that we have taken care of. There's your proof in the pudding right there. So I'm getting sidetracked already. Let's take our Felco. These are Felco number 2s, the only pruners that I use. I've had these for like 20 something years, as you can tell, but I keep them on my hip pretty much every day. And look at here, we caught the culprit in the act. So that's what snails and slugs will do to real leafy plants just like this cabbage. So if you got any kind of damage like this, more than likely that's going to be a slug or a snail. So we're going to toss him down, let him go about his business, but he's got to find another plant, because I'm going to come in here and just cut this cabbage right at the stalk, and it's got a nice thick stalk to it. Look at the size of that dude. And you can see we've got some, like I said, some bug damage, but I don't like spraying chemicals, so I'm just not going to worry about it. So what I'll do is just come in and cut those outer leaves off that have all the slug damage. We don't want the outer leaves anyway. Look, there's another guy. They kind of get down in the folds and really hide themselves pretty well down in the cabbage. And there you have it, guys. We'll take that in, get it cleaned up, washed up, and get it in the slow cooker. And this is the variety that we've grown and we're going to be cooking today. This is Early Jersey Wakefield cabbage. And there's not a ton on this other guy. This was the dude that's down here, was in the shade, and look at there. There's another little slug. So good thing we got these today, because it was getting to be problematic. And there's even a little bitty baby snail. I don't even know if you guys can see him, but it was getting to the point where we're getting way too many slugs and snails. So good thing we went ahead and harvested today. We'll take this little head in too and add it, because that cabbage cooks way down. You guys, I am so excited about this cabbage. Look at that big old monster head of cabbage. I've been trying for years. I don't know what I've been doing wrong, but I'm going to attribute, hopefully I can talk today, attribute this cabbage and our success to the fact that we use nothing but organic fertilizer and really, really good compost. We use that Espoma Land and Sea. We use some of our own compost, and it was just a really, really good mix of soil, and there are the results. So I've got it over the sink now. We're going to turn it on cold water, and I'm going to go ahead, get rid of the leaves that have any of the insect damage, and just kind of those outer leaves. We want this good interior crunchy leaves is what we're after. This looks so cool. So I'm just going to go through here, rip off all these guys. I'm going to go ahead and try not to drop my head of cabbage, and just go ahead and cut that big old stem off right there. We got a couple more leaves with a little bit of damage, and I'm not going to worry about it if it's got some few holes in it. We're going to cook this all day long in the crock pot, so it's going to kill anything that would have been on there. Look at there, guys. So stinking excited about this. So just look at that beauty right there. Now, let's get him chopped up and get him in the crock pot and get him cooking, because we got to go to Grassroots Nursery here in a little bit. We've got to move a huge staghorn fern from the inside of the store out to the jungle greenhouse, so we got a lot to do today. So let's get this thing cooking. All right, we got our head of cabbage all clean. The one thing we don't want to put in there is going to be the big stalk part. So I'm just going to probably come in here, cut it into 4 wedges. And I think I'm going to go ahead and move my paper towel. I was going to put that there just to kind of get all the water off the cabbage, but I don't want this winding up in my crock pot for sure. And I clean my counters. That's one thing YouTube has been helping me out with. It's just me and my son here, and I have realized we're not the cleanest creatures in the world. So YouTube has helped me because, well, I had to clean the kitchen up a little bit before I made this video. So that's the part that we're going to get rid of right there, just that big old stalk. And then you can take and cut this, honestly, however you want. I kind of like to do long, thin pieces like that. And this is going to cook down tremendously. I wish we had probably 2 more heads this size to make an entire pot, but it is what it is, and it's going to be delicious because you know why? We grew it, and anything you grow yourself just tastes better. So this is what I'm going to do. Just cut it into these long, ribbon-like pieces right here. I'm going to try not to cut my finger, but I've got a super sharp knife here today, but we don't have time to go to the emergency room, so we're just not going to do that today, okay guys? Get this thing all cut up into these nice long threads, and I'm even going to go ahead and try a little bit raw. That's good. It's going to be even better when we get it in this chicken broth, a few other little ingredients, some butter, and let it cook all day long. And any of these larger leaf type pieces, I'm just going to kind of throw them in a pile, and we're just going to reduce the size of them, just cut them up a little bit. And these damn fruit flies are driving me insane, guys. So if you have fruit flies in your house, I found these on Amazon. They're just little fruit fly traps. They've caught a bunch already in this thing. It comes with its own little bait. But they're flying around me right now, so I just felt like I needed to mention that because my house is not the cleanest, but it's not nasty either. But these damn fruit flies just will not go away. I've cleaned up all the fruit and veggies. I don't know where they're coming from. I've heard they also can live in your drain. So poured a bunch of bleach down the drains recently, but they're really, really testing my patience. But those things have worked. We've caught a ton of them so far. All right, last piece here. Just get it cut up again, just like we did the rest. And it's so crunchy, and it looks absolutely beautiful, you guys. All right, guys, I was contemplating showing you this or not. This is the one that was in the shade. He's teeny, but I figured I'd show it to you because you know why? This is a real-life YouTube channel, and every plant and everything that we do is not going to be perfect. But he's going to add, you know, couple spoonfuls to the pot, so hell, why not? We're gonna wash him up and chop him up and throw him in the mix. And we'll just get rid of the stalk. And like I said, that'll add a little bit to our pot full. All right, we'll add our last little bit of cabbage right there. Let me turn the sink off. All right, in addition to our cabbage, I'm gonna add in just a 1 clove, or like actually that's probably only about like a half a clove of garlic that I chopped up. We're gonna add some chicken broth, and this is how much? 32 ounces. I don't know if I'm gonna add the whole thing. I'm gonna see how far it comes up on the cabbage. Since I'm gonna be gone today, I certainly don't want it running out of juice. So probably just gonna go ahead. Yeah, we're gonna add the whole thing. And let's see where, you know what, guys? I think we're probably gonna need to add us another box of juice there, because I'm not too satisfied. I don't know if y'all can see there. It's only up about an inch or so. Certainly don't want it running, or excuse me, certainly don't want it running dry while we're gone. So to be on the safe side, let's go ahead and add us another 32 ounces. And then this stuff can just sit here and simmer and cook and all this goodness all day long. Yeah, I feel better about that. While we go down to the nursery and move that staghorn fern. I'm going to go ahead and throw in half a block of butter. And then we're just going to do some salt and pepper to taste. A little bit of pepper there. That's probably about right there. And we'll take our salt. And we're probably going to use, I don't know, a tablespoon or 2. Sorry, I'm not great at measuring stuff out, y'all. That's probably 2 tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons of salt, some pepper, our garlic, of course our cabbage, and 64 ounces, 64 ounces of our chicken stock. I'm going to go ahead and mix all that salt and pepper around and get that butter down into the chicken broth so that it can kind of melt and go throughout. I guess I could have chopped that up, couldn't I? Moved it around in there, but I didn't. So anyway, that half a block is just going to kind of melt in the chicken broth. I can't talk today. Melt in the chicken broth and give us all that buttery goodness. Now, I'm simply just going to put the lid on her, and I'm going to turn it to low, and we're going to let that bad boy ride and let it do its thing while we go down to the nursery and get to work. So when we come back this evening, I'll fire the camera back up and we'll see our results. Hey, I didn't want to cheat you guys out of any content, so before we head down to the nursery, thought we would just give this a quick stir and see if that butter has melted yet. And I'm pretty sure that it has, because it's pretty daggum hot. And I know that because a while ago I came over and touched the crock pot and it's really hot and I burned myself. So don't touch your crock pot. But another thing I was going to tell you guys about real quick, you know, you saw those slugs on the cabbage when we were washing it off, and I'm okay with bugs. Matter of fact, I've eaten bugs. If you remember that time we went to the show in, where was it? Miami. We ordered bugs at that restaurant, but it's not what I'm trying to say. My point being is we know where this food came from. We grew it ourselves organically. And yeah, it's going to have a few bugs on it, but I'd rather wash off the bugs than, you know, possibly get cancer from all the chemicals that they spray on our food. I don't like chemicals, and you just never know what these farmers are putting on our foods, and they have to spray because people don't want to see bugs in the grocery store. That's how all the vegetables and everything's perfect. So I'm willing to trade off washing off a few bugs in the sink. I know it's kind of gross. I don't want to eat the slugs, but for me, it's worth the trade-off of knowing what I'm putting in my body and not have to worry about God knows what chemicals have been sprayed on my food. So just, I'll get down off my soapbox right now, but I know a couple of you are probably going to be like, oh, that's gross, it's got bugs on it. Well, I'd rather a few bugs than cancer. Hey folks, it is now 6:30 p.m. We just got home from Roots. I'm tired, just cracked me open a cold beer, but the house smells really good.
because I came in and stirred our cabbage and it looks amazing. So I'm going to get us some. We're going to try it out a little bit. Got us a draining spoon right here. We'll just throw it on this plate and let it cool down for a second. But while it's cooling down, what I like to put on mine is a little Crystal hot sauce, or Cristal, you can say it if you're feeling fancy and want to impress the ladies. So I'm going to try to open it up with one hand. Douse a little bit of that on there, and then something else. And don't tell my mama that I'm using this, but I'm out of hers. A little bit of pepper vinegar, which when the peppers get done in our big garden, maybe we'll go up and get Mom's recipe for making her pepper vinegar. She cans a bunch of it. And my pepper vinegar, there we go. Give it a few shots just like that there. Get us a fork and let's try this out. Mix that together. Cabbage looks great. It smells nice and buttery.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, perfect. It does still got a little bit of crunch to it, but it's nice and cooked down in the slow cooker. And then that Crystal hot sauce and that pepper vinegar, that's where the money's at there, Raz. So hope y'all enjoyed that video. Give growing your own cabbage a try. Again, I think a lot of our success was due to the organic method that we used, and all that compost and the Espoma land and sea just worked out beautiful. So give it a shot. Appreciate you guys. Remember, the more you know, the more you grow. We'll see you on the next video, y'all. I'm going back to eat me a big old bowl full of this cabbage. See ya.